this is one of the comments that had a comment underneath that I had to remove because it was so bad. I will provide a screenshot, but basically what this did was it proved everything I said in the video. It proved that the left is self-evidently evil, that they do in fact support Stalin, and that they do not look at anyone who disagrees with them as their equal. This was one of the most insane no, not one of the most. It was the most insane comment I've ever received. And it will be immortalized in this video here as a testament to how freakishly deformed and evil the left-wing ideology makes people. Me speaking truth here absolutely wrecked a ton of people's brains, just completely wrecked them. And this is what I want people to understand. The truth destroys leftists. Objective reality itself, when you fearlessly adhere to it, completely destroys them. They can't argue. They can't engage in reason or rationality like we can when we look at objective reality, because being able to see objective reality means using rationality, objectivism, logic by definition. They can only engage in competitions of victimhood to determine virtue in their identitarian intersectionalist game. That's all they have. So that's the reason they're so upset. That's the reason why I inadvertently obliterated so many psyches with this video. So guys, the point of this video is going to be to show you what total ideological depravity can do to a person, how low it can bring their IQ, how totally it can remove their ability to reason, use logic, rationality, and really what happens when an ideology commands somebody to reject their cognitive faculties, when it's done in accordance with the left, is that it says those things are oppressive. Those mechanisms like reason and rationality, because they lend themselves to an objective world, are actually oppression. So I'm going to show you guys what caused me to want to make this video, which is that, so in case you've missed it or not been on the internet in the last week, a certain billionaire president has had a really, really good week, from interviewing the largest streamer in the world, breaking all records in terms of viewership, taking over the culture, controlling the conversation, and then, of course, a conversation that took place last night with another billionaire, which at this point, in less than 24 hours, has garnered over, when you incorporate all the views from streamers and YouTubers, over 1 billion views. This has sent the left into a tailspin, but because we're nearing the election, they were already manifesting their deep ideological possession, meaning their inability to grasp reality. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. When you go to this video, which at this point is getting, like, probably I would say 300 to 500 views a day. Right now it's at 2,000 views. This video is breaking the minds of leftists to an extent that I haven't seen, and there are many reasons for this. The two biggest reasons, of course, are the one that I mentioned before about how a certain billionaire is having a great week, but the other is that I am showing in this video that I'm clearly not afraid to engage with the radical left, to make culture, to disagree with them and say, I'm not going to buy into your cult of counterfeit virtue. I'm not going to pretend that as though to be a good person, I have to be like you deformed freaks, and the result of that has been a lot, just a total manifestation of the worst of the worst. Like, I've gotten comments that YouTube has had to take down because they're so insane. I mean, everything from sexual depravity to low IQ to ad hominem attacks to racism to sexism to homophobia, all coming from the left. And it's because I went after one of the biggest left-wing socialist streamers, making fun of him and his inability to accept reality. And oh, it was glorious. This video is an amazing watch. And I know that in the future, this video is going to get a lot more views, including from people that agree with me. I've already gained many subscribers from this video, so I'm not saying everyone who watched this is a destroyed freak, but most of the comments are just leftists losing their minds. And so I took the opportunity to reply to most of the replies. The ones that I didn't have to remove or that YouTube didn't remove, I replied to them. And what I'm going to do in this video is show you guys exactly how insane they've become. Interestingly enough, the closest thing I've seen to this is when I went after H3. That video got like 5,000 views in a week, and most of the comments were insane H3 fans that were just losing their mind. That was extremely funny, because that was right after H3 took the massive L from Fresh and Fit, where he basically quit the debate at the end and admitted that he was there in bad faith. And I think that day he lost like 10,000 subscribers, but this is even worse. Firstly, my comment, which is a pinned tweet, telling people that they need to go watch my video about how Kamala Harris endorsed Stalin. Kamala Harris is willfully endorsing communism because she says we need equality of outcome. This is an ideology that is the worst ideology ever devised. This video was taken down on YouTube, but it's still on X because X is a free platform. Thank you, Elon. One guy says, I don't think you know what endorsed means. Keeping in mind, we have video of Kamala Harris saying we need equality of outcome. We need to make sure everyone ends up in the same place on video. And not only on video, she repeats it in 4K about 6 different times in the video that I linked right here. So this person admits that they don't know what endorsed means. I immediately correct them. A common theme that you're going to see in these comments is not just lying, but the inversion of reality. So if you take a true statement, what the most deformed leftists tend to do is they say the opposite of it. So when they're guilty of something, they won't just say that they're innocent, but they'll say that the person that's calling them out as guilty is guilty of what they're guilty of. You see an ad hominem here. I respond, her position is clearly stated in favor of communism. Further endorsements of an ideology that killed 80 million people will get banned from the channel because I can ban people from the channel if I want to. I've had to ban a couple like insanely deranged people. I've been shocked at the amount, well, maybe not shocked, but I've been staggered at the amount of mental illness that is clearly lurking in Hasan's streaming chat room. I mean, there's just a lot. Last time I was even watching a Hasan stream must have been like 2015 when I even went on Twitch, but there's a lot of mental illness. They've cultivated that over there, so there have been some broken freaks. But we shouldn't really be surprised at that, considering that there was recently a pedophile that was caught wearing Hasan merch. I say this other guy noticed that your ad hominem did not benefit you, and that saying the opposite of the truth did not benefit you, just as it did not benefit Hasan. This person says, I can guarantee she never said that, even though I linked to a video where she literally said that 6 times in a row in 4K. Notice you see here, too, that they continue to say the opposite of the truth when Hasan is clearly unhinged. This is like a clinical study. You see that the left commands people to lie in favor of the ideology. After I hold them accountable, of course, the response is, oh, you're projecting, or something like that. Notice that the cognitively destroyed and insane psychopath with a distorted profile picture that looks like a serial killer says, I should get help for calling out Hasan for being a psychopathic communist who's coping over this entire situation. So you see the continued inversion of truth here. I point out, of course, that his life will get much better. People will like him in real life if he rejects the resentment of the left-wing ideology. So I easily dismantled that for you. This next guy says, this next guy also tries to cope because he doesn't like the fact that a billionaire president is talking with the biggest, probably arguably the biggest influencer to young people alive right now, Aiden Ross. Oh my god, he's a seat sniffer, and his non-voter 13-year-old audience can't do anything. Great political decisions coming from the conservatives. I respond by saying, this low IQ comment is the type of thing as saying Andrew Tate is an incel when he's surrounded by adoring supermodels. You should take off your Hasan merch before you're discovered for what you are. That's a good reply. But rather than disagreeing with anything that was said in the video by myself or the billionaire president, they attack Aiden for being illiterate. They can't engage with ideas. They can only demonize. This was very interesting to see here, too, because when I see comments like this, I realize that 1984 was written about objective reality. Neither reference to me or Aiden Ross is unclear which. This person says the system failed him. Poorly educated people are easy to radicalize. Coming from the most radicalized sect of the internet, Hasan's chat. The most broken, disturbed type of human, which psychopathically thinks that they're somehow a standard of not only normality, but virtue. It's utterly insane. And to be radicalized to the extent of hating reality, like all communists and socialists are, they're the definition of radicalized. So you see, again, the inversion of truth. Ad hominem towards Tate. Again, nothing actually engaging in objective reality. Ad hominem. All these people, me speaking truth here, absolutely wrecked a ton of people's brains. Just completely wrecked them. And this is what I want people to understand. The truth destroys leftists. Objective reality itself, when you fearlessly adhere to it, completely destroys them. They can't argue. They can't engage in reason or rationality like we can when we look at objective reality. Because being able to see objective reality means using rationality, objectivism, logic, by definition. They can only engage in competitions of victimhood to determine virtue in their identitarian intersectionalist game. That's all they have. So that's the reason they're so upset. That's the reason why I inadvertently obliterated so many psyches with this video. This person says, after watching this, I'm reminded by why I'm a leftist. Basically, I humiliated Hasan for not being able to think, for being a communist, for being evil, for being a psychopath, and this person confirms that they want to be that. So it's the inversion of reality yet again. I easily obliterate them, saying, you should let go of your resentment so you stop wishing for the death of humanity. This person tried to say, oh, but she's not a communist. She's not a communist. That's 60, and this is where it gets really evil. This is disturbing. This person tries to argue in my comments that 60 million people didn't die under communism, that number is flawed. And this is where you see that rebranding of communism that had to happen inevitably, because Stalin was just self-evidently such an enormous failure that nobody, not even the French intellectuals who were Marxists, could argue that communism was valid, and so they had to do the rebranding. But even here, they're still consumed by the fact that they're judged for this crime against humanity. And then randomly says that MLK was a socialist trying to defend his allegiance to the radical left. I beautifully dismantle this. Democrats were the party of slavery and Jim Crow, which is true. According to the objective numbers of people dying in communism, including parents eating their children. Yeah, I can't say that. But see, this actually happened. This actually happened. So this is the extent of the left-wing evil. And they support this while smiling. They support this. They support this while calling themselves good people. So we are battling evil. Communism, according to the numbers, is 10 times worse than supporting anything that happened in Germany during this time period. I say that if you continue to comment support for this, you will be banned from the channel. They did not reply after that. Very easily owned, of course. But this is what you have to do. You have to be militant in your defense of reality, because these people are at war with truth. They are at war with reality. When I say they're at war with reality, you must understand that reality is objective. It's not subjective. Reality is objective. This is the reason why we can do science. This is the reason Socrates could discover reason. It emerged from the world itself. And so when you say you are aligned against objectivism, which is what the postmodernists said when they said there's no such thing as right and wrong, which is what Marxism says when they deny the existence of the objective nature of humanity, they are required to go to war with objective reality. And so just by standing and fearlessly calling them out, mocking them, laughing at them, but also debunking every one of their rotten presuppositions, you enrage them. They have no way to come back from that. This video is very high IQ, so this person is incorrect, so I correctly say this is an IQ problem. Now this is one of the comments that had a comment underneath that I had to remove because it was so bad. I will provide a screenshot, but basically what this did was it proved everything I said in the video. It proved that the left is self-evidently evil, that they do in fact support Stalin, and that they do not look at anyone who disagrees with them as their equal. This was one of the most insane, no, not one of the most, it was the most insane comment I've ever received, and it will be immortalized in this video here as a testament to how freakishly deformed and evil the left-wing ideology makes people. A human left this comment here. The desperate freaks trying to defend Hasan, so you know that they are Hasan fans. By the way, I love how the internet culture has finally come around to mocking just Hasan fans in general as the lowest IQ population. That's, I think, the reason why they felt so enraged, is because this type of content that I'm making, although not common, is more emboldened to the point where people are willing to say, yeah, his audience has been essentially purified through many people being banned in his chat to just having the most radical, emotionally unstable, neurotic, psychopathic, low IQ individuals sort of just condensed together. And the result of that is just pure psychopathology for the left. The result of exposing the radical left as self-evidently insane and evil and immoral and unable to grapple with objective reality in a way that, I'll just be honest, was fearless and based in reality, enraged the people who think they have a monopoly on virtue, the people that think they have a vice grip on what is allowed in the culture. And they're panicking because they can't convince people. They can only demonize people. They threaten people. It's like holding someone hostage, where you say, the only way we'll call you a good person is if you agree with us. That's all they have. But when you do this, when you do what I did, this video is one of my most important videos, because it's where I openly call them out. I fearlessly make fun of them in a way that is true on every level, referencing culture from a framework that is based in objective reality rather than their deformed minds. Like, for instance, I reference how Hasan got kicked off the call with Andrew Tate in disgrace, which he did, even though radical leftists want to pretend as though Hasan took a W there, even though he was literally kicked off in disgrace. Or how I mentioned how most of the internet completely clowns on this guy. So, as this video continues to get more views, and as I continue to make more videos like this, I want people my age, because if you're older than me, you're either matured enough, well, for the most part, you're matured enough to understand why I'm correct, or you're so far beyond past saving that you've practiced hating humanity and reality for so long that Marxist resentment for reality is more of a lifestyle than a habit for you. But to the people my age, I would say the reason why all these people are mentally destroyed, just completely and utterly wrecked, is one word: resentment. Resentment for truth, resentment for nature, resentment for all things that are beautiful. And the reason why I use the word beautiful is because beauty has symmetry, and symmetry has objectivism. These people that are commenting on my videos are intellectually first graders compared to me. They're mental midgets. They're doing arithmetic while I'm doing calculus. Because while they've practiced nothing but resentment and adherence to their ideology, which is a very simple ideology, it just commands virtue based on oppression and identity based on intersectionalist identity. While they've been doing that, guys, I've been engaging my brain in understanding the nature of reality by listening to geniuses on the internet for years. I've listened to over 1,000 hours of Jordan Peterson describe philosophy, psychology. I've listened to his courses multiple times. I've spent time and effort to understand not what I want to know, but the way reality actually is in objectivity. Because remember, the objective world, by definition, means it does not adhere to a construct of what a human thinks. But even the way I'm speaking right now is actually beyond the cognitive horizon of most leftists because they're so unpracticed, because they've been told to demonize the tools that I'm using to make sense of reality. They've been told to demonize even free speech, so we'll start there. They've been told to demonize people speaking freely if it goes against their ideology. They've been told to demonize rationality and logic because those are mechanisms of oppression used by the patriarchy. They've been told to demonize objectivism because it violates the postmodernist philosophy, which they don't even know that they're embodying because they don't know what postmodernism means. But I know what it means because I spent 500 hours studying that. All they have is reactionary emotionality akin to some sort of animalistic instinct, or if you were to put it in a comparison, a first grader who can't color within the lines and a serious person doing calculus. The divide between these people isn't going away. I'm not making this video to say that, oh, I can save all these people. Many of them are irreparably damaged, but you don't want to be one of these people. You don't want to be irreparably damaged. The left-wing ideology's goal is to ultimately get you to a place where you can lie about what you see, you can lie about what you hear, and you can, without hesitation, say the opposite of the truth. They've already, of course, established this in many, many different people, where the very first thing that they get, for instance, young women to think when they see a man doing anything is, I hate masculinity. Or when they get a single divorced woman buying cat food, the first thing she thinks when she sees a man with his life put together is, he's oppressing me. Or when a person who can't even get out of their bed and spends their time in Hasan's chat room, when they get them to say Elon Musk is a loser. In those moments, when they get them to say the opposite of reality, to totally invert truth, that's their goal. And they can only do that by demonizing the mechanisms of logic, rationality that I not only exemplify in this video, but all of my videos. So this is the nature of the war we're fighting here, and it's very important you understand. And I was not expecting to get such a total manifestation of this brokenness, but I'm thrilled that it did happen. Not only because it drives the video to more views so that more people will see this inevitably, but because it's a perfect case study, like mice or guinea pigs in a lab. They didn't know what they were doing because, again, they're down here compared to where I'm at. And so I was able to bring this to you. Now, if you haven't studied postmodernism, if you haven't studied Marxism, if you haven't even asked the questions which I know the answer to already, that's okay. Remember that the radical left trades on the one word, resentment. Resentment towards truth, resentment towards objectivism, resentment towards facts that are discoverable through science, resentment towards logic, reason, rationality, resentment towards masculinity. That's a big one because masculinity is a synthesized bro, they can't even understand the words that I'm using. Masculinity is a synthesized apparatus for objective reality that extrapolates meaning in a way that is actionable. Bro, most of these people have double-digit IQs, and that's fine. That's totally okay. Society needs people of all different genetic makeups. But the left takes advantage of these people and says, we'll give you a status, we'll give you an identity group that tells you that you're a hero. You don't even have to get out of bed. You don't actually have to be a hero. But as a result of being a part of the right club, you can say that Elon Musk is a loser and Elon Musk is a bad person while you have done nothing but take from society. You can say the opposite of the truth while calling yourself virtuous. And this is by definition evil. And the reason why the ideology of the left called Marxism is actually a death cult, and why these people are so broken and damaged. Guys, I love making this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I have a fantastic video coming tomorrow.